It is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. Usually I'm wearing somebody's cap on my head, but I've already showered. I got a little business to take care of at NFL Network, so I look like I've got school photos today.
Usually when you get dolled up like this, you also do the beard a little bit, but I noticed you're going with the silver fox look, which I really like. You look good.
Although I might have makeup, dusted up a little bit.
Just a little dusting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little Hollywood secret right there.
Yeah. We got the show off early, so hopefully you're consuming it in record numbers today. So thanks for joining us early. And by the way, don't put this all on me. We know that you had a tea time today, and we're more than happy to get up early and do this.
I made the tea time because we were up early. Isn't that what happened?
No.
I think that's what happened. Is that revisionist history? I don't know.
It was the reverse. You were so excited that we had to go early because, oh my God, that's great. I've got a tea time. So let's get it going. Talk a little baseball. Tip of the cap to a pair of Marlins fielders who gave us some great catches at Citi Field. Dane Myers, that ended the game on Wednesday. Holy smile. And the guy was smiling afterward. I'm surprised that they didn't have to corkscrew his nose out of the wall.
Yeah, did he get his hands in front? Did his head hit? Because he was going full speed. I mean, obviously, I love this play right here. It's like just no regard for the body. I'm going to go make the play. He definitely hit his head. I'm looking at that still frame right there.
I mean, I know, but he was still all smiles afterward. Great job, Dane. And that came a day after Derek Hill's catch.
Yeah, nice.
Where it was in a losing effort, but man, where he went full air.
Is that warning track tiny or something? It looks really small right there.
You ever make one of those in the outfield?
No, dude. Like, honestly, that's one of the hardest things to learn as like a guy going out there is how many steps does the warning track mean for me? Like, you can't just stop at the warning track. It's like 1.5 steps. I mean, and depending on who you are, but I mean, it takes a lot of time to know, like, hey, here I am. Here's how fast I'm running. What's the wall going to do to me? That's something that you need a ton of reps for.
You know, for every kid that ever played baseball, that always looked like the most fun thing was when you're running, chasing after a ball and just jumping in the air and it actually sticks to your mitt. And you were like, oh my God, I can't believe I caught that. That's too bad you never had that feeling as a major leaguer.
I mean, I caught fly balls. I don't know about I'm talking about full extension. I wasn't that type of player. No.
Oh, well, maybe, you know what? You can be one of those guys in your early 50s in fantasy camp. You'll go down to Fort Myers, Twins fantasy camp. They'll be like, Plouffe, when did he play?
I'm trying to think of a good comparison of like an outfielder now that I was.
Oh, well, just pick an infielder who's been out there.
Well, I was going to say Nick Castellanos, but I think he might be better than me out there.
Wow. Saying something.
We're comparable. Like us out there, I think. Yeah.
All right. We had a bunch of great finishes in the show. Were there 10 one-run games on Wednesday out of the 15? 10 of them?
I didn't do that math.
Holy smokes. We had the Mariners. They were down 5-0 in the 8th inning, and they came back and won. They get a walk-off win. And then in San Francisco, it didn't end up being a one-run game, but they were down 5-1 in the 6th. They forced extras, and then this happened.
High drive to right. It is out of here. And we are going home.
Mike, did your daughter also ask for that one?
She did. Yeah, she kept reminding me that I hadn't gotten her the splash hit yet. So she's on a heater.
They're telling that story because earlier in the week he had hit a home run and his young daughter had said, hey, when are you going to go hit a home run or something like that? Can you hit me one? So that was adorable.
No better feeling. And by the way, well, two things, actually. Yastrzemski, like, underrated, sneaky, good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after a walk-off, you're glowing. So he's got those extra points there.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I you saw the guy in the kayak.
I know. You really want to do that.
We have to do it, Chris. We have to.
Yeah, but didn't somebody wrote in the comments, yeah, but you got to be careful of sharks. And the minute I saw that one, I'm out.
Man,
Sorry.
what are they gonna do?
Well, they're always going to go after the slowest guy. And who do you
Yeah,
think?
you're exactly. I feel it's totally safe if it's you and I out there.
Sorry, we're going to go in a 2-person kayak. If I'm going down, you're coming with me, fish
We
food.
just need like something a little bit bigger than a kayak so we can like go through people and just, bulldoze right through.
I will tell you this, even with my lack of athleticism, 4 straight years at Camp North Star in Hayward, Wisconsin, I was on the canoe team. So, oh yeah, I'm no joke with the paddle out there. That's something I can do.
We are doing that this summer.
I'll work on the J stroke. Anyway, let's get back to the question at hand. Which of the 2 comebacks, the one in San Francisco or the one we didn't see up there in Seattle, rocked more?
I liked San Francisco just because this is what this team has become this year. Like they haven't really hit their stride yet, especially offensively. Some of their guys that they're counting on to be guys like Willie Adames, Lamont Wade, like they haven't really come on, but other guys have stepped up, and it seemed like it's been a different guy. Willie did get that knock. I think they have 4 walk-off knocks already this year. But Yastrzemski's been going off. Wilmer Flores, who tied the game up earlier, he's been absolutely electric at the plate. His swing looks really, really locked in. He looks very comfortable at the plate right now. So to do that, especially after getting shut out the last 2 games, to be able to come back like that, day game after a night game, I think it just kind of shows the resilience. And we always talk about this team being veteran laden, guys that have kind of like been there, done that. Like in these types of games show that where, they know they've been through a season. Doesn't matter if this guy's struggling or you've been shut out the last 2 games, like you're going to play all 9, you're going to finish the game. And then, when you do that, things like this happen. So San Francisco has really impressed me early on.
I think it's big for Seattle in part because, when you're down that late, when you're down 5 runs in the 8th inning, that. They're like, a lot of guys are like, okay, day game, we'll cash it in. Randy Arozarena got him on the board with that grand slam in the 8th inning, and then Houston tacked on another run, and then Seattle came back. They had a wild play where I think it was Donovan Solano. They thought he was out at third. They looked at the call. He gotten back in under a tag. It kept the inning alive. Julio then follows with a game-tying double, and Randy eventually has a walk-off walk. So there were a few reasons why I felt like that was more important. Number one, Seattle hadn't won a series until then. So they were about to not win a series out of their first 4. That kind of sucks for a team that has decent aspirations. Number 2, and maybe this is number 1, maybe it's going to unlock Randy Arozarena a little bit. He got traded over there, and what do you remember about that trade? To me, it was him taking a lap, like in Tampa Bay. I think he was crushed when he was dealt. Remember
he
when
went to the game with his family, right?
And he sat in the outfield. You don't see that. He really felt attached to that team, attached to that community. And when you get Seattle's a wonderful city, but man, it can feel like it's on the other side of the world when you go up there. So I imagine it's been rough for him. Like it probably wasn't easy when these guys get traded mid-season. We talk about it. For us, we just turn on the TV and they're wearing a different uniform. For them, their world gets turned upside down. They need Randy to go back and be like baller Randy, which he hasn't been. He's been a little bit better than league average since he's been out there. And that's not who he is.
Yeah, we talked about this before the season. For them to be successful, the Mariners, Julio needs to get off to a faster start. He has, a notoriously slow starter. Hasn't, yesterday was nice, but it hasn't been great for him. And then Randy, I talked about him, like he needs to be, like you're saying, like back like he was in Tampa, feeling that being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like larger than life. Like he needs to find that. Like I know exactly what you're saying. And I think if that happens, the attitude changes, it rubs off on everybody. The Mariners, again, haven't been off to a great start, especially offensively. I'm looking right now. They are 22nd in OPS at 636. It has been a little bit more of the same, but I agree with you. If Randy, is that catapults him into the guy we know he can be, that's obviously going to help them.
Yeah. All right. In the meantime, let's move across the country where the Jays are going to be going on Thursday for a 4-game sweep at Fenway. That does not happen very often. Obviously, the big news this week is that Vlad got that $500 million extension. So he's all tucked in. He's got his jammies on, and he goes, I'm going to be north of the border until I'm in my 40s, which is awesome. The big question is, what does it mean for Bo Bichette moving forward? Now, he ended up knocking in the go-ahead and eventual winning run last night in Boston. Here is Jays GM Ross Atkins on the future of the shortstop.
Yeah, the interest is definitely there to talk about negotiations, something that we are consistent in not doing. And, it's also our vision for them to continue to play together.
So, Bo, just like Vladdy in his walk year, Vladdy got his done. How do you think Bo Bichette is feeling right now?
It's curious, man, because I feel like these guys are in similar situations where we've questioned both of them. What kind of player are you? We questioned Vladdy, obviously huge year last year, gets the deal done, and now he's getting paid like a top tier talent. And, the metrics have supported that, and I think I've come around a lot on Vladdy and the type of player that he is, and I think that they nailed it by signing him. I'm happy that he's going to be. I didn't know I didn't think about this. He's actually a native Canadian, which is really cool. So I like that. I like the aspect of him staying there. It makes a lot of sense. Bichette's the same way. And largely we talked about Vlad and the contract because of their age. Bichette right now is 27, going to be a free agent. And he's had some great years and he's had some not so great years. So I think we're still at that point where we're questioning, like, what exactly are you? I think well, I was going to say, I think the floor is there, but I think he's an interesting player, man. Like, he's not exactly like a great shortstop, but he can be a very good offensive shortstop. But if he doesn't hit, then where exactly is his value? I think his value is the greatest on the Blue Jays. That's what I think. So I'd love for them. Like, if he's speaking the truth, keeping them together, that makes a lot of sense, like franchise-wise and popularity-wise, but I'd be curious to see what he gets on the open market, I think is my biggest point right here. Especially, let's just say he has a middling year. Not great, not bad. I'm very curious to see to me, I think he would have a lot of suitors just because of the age and, like the offensive ability that he's shown, but a contract, I can't really wrap my head around what a contract would look like, Chris.
Well, when we did the Vladdy story earlier this week, what did we say? We weren't like, oh my God, you gave him $500 million. We both said, hey, what's next? What are you going to be able to put around him? Here's a quote from Bichette in the offseason. He told this to Shai Davidi, who, of course, has covered the Jays for years. He said, when I had time to think about what I want, basically my ultimate goal really is to play with Vladdy forever, to win a championship with him, and to do that with this organization. I'm 100% committed to doing whatever it takes to accomplish those things. That's where I'm at. So we know where his headspace is, but, I think you can afford to say that when both guys' futures are up in the air. Now, Toronto has already made their decision on Vladdy. And I'm sorry, it is human nature for a guy like Bo Bichette to say, well, what the hell does this mean for me? And I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. It doesn't mean that he has any disparaging words or thoughts about the guy whom he's played with his entire big league career. But you do wonder, he said, okay, they picked him. What do they think of me? That's human nature.
Yeah, I get that. He's still like in a good position. Overall, his numbers look really nice, especially for a shortstop. You can talk about defense all you want, because I think that is pertinent. But the numbers, 796 OPS, but then the last couple of years just haven't been that. So I don't know what gets it done, Chris. Like, what do you think he's looking for?
It's a great question on the number. I was trying to put him with a different team last night.
Looking for Adames numbers?
I would think so. I mean, particularly at his age, I don't think there's any question. Didn't he lead the league in hits twice? Now, last year, his OPS was under 600. He really hadn't bounced back since that late season injury in 2023. He just hasn't been the same player. He's still looking for his first homer. He's off to a fine start. I wouldn't call it electrifying, but solid. So are there a few teams that I look at and say, yeah, I think they'll be in on Bo Bichette? I think the Atlanta Braves might be. I think that's a team that might say, hey, you know what? We need a dude that can pile up the hits. maybe that makes sense for us. I look at a team like possibly I wonder if the Tigers would be interested in him, right? They took a big swing at Alex Bregman. Sweeney's been their shortstop since he came over in that trade last year for Flaherty. That would be interesting. I don't know if I see any other teams that are glaring that are screaming shortstop at this point.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
I'm trying to think too.
Yeah, I don't see it at this point. So those are two that just kind of off the top of my head. And one that not knowing exactly who's next in line out of the minor leagues. But I would throw those two teams in as probably stirring the pot.
Houston always comes to my mind in a lot of different
Pena?
free agent cases.
Pena.
I know they have Pena. I'm not saying Bo Bichette doesn't have to play shortstop.
No, that's true. He could go to second base. Here's the one other thing we haven't talked about. Who did they make a trade for in the offseason?
Who's that?
Toronto. Andres Jimenez.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that. Him moving over and being that guy. Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't do that because to me, he's the best defensive player in baseball at second base. Could he return to his natural position of shortstop? Absolutely. Does he have enough arm? Absolutely. I would say, though, well, I could be convinced otherwise, but I don't like screwing up something that's already great.
Anybody that's a diehard Blue Jay fan listening to this, have they entertained that switch yet at all between Bichette and him?
Where they just flip him?
Yeah.
It's been a while since Jimenez has played any sort of shortstop, though. He didn't do it in Cleveland, really, and
I guess if it's working like that, why mess it up?
Yeah, he's just a wizard. Finally, because we want to hear in the comments about what you think. How do you think, Bo? But try and get in between his ears on this one. Get in his head. How do you think he feels? So give me a yes or no. Is Bo Bichette
for like a 10-year, like 300? Like, what are we thinking right now?
No, because I don't think that's in play.
I don't think that's in play either, but he's going to be a 28-year-old free agent or 27-year-old.
Yeah, he'll be 28 by next season. What do you think? Yes or no? Still Blue Jay next year?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
I think this is one of those tough decisions that they're going to have to make. Because you know what? They're going to have to save some money for pitching because Bassett's coming off the books this year. Gossman the year after that.
I think either way, like say he goes off, Chris, then I think it's like, yeah, he's going to get paid something that maybe we're not comfortable with. Or the alternative, like say he struggles, I think they say, wow, okay, the last, 100 and call it 200 games that you played haven't been great. And you're kind of, maybe we feel like you're on the decline. It's interesting, man. I root for the guy. I really do.
Of course you do.
I've only heard good things about him. And I said this before on the show. I remember watching Instagram videos of him in high school hitting bombs. So I feel like I have a weird attachment to Bo Bichette.
Yeah, let us know. What do you think? Does he stay in Toronto, people? Does he go elsewhere? Leave a comment. Let's get to work. All right, today's episode, it is sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip, so why not make the most of it? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there for every detour, destination, and unexpected turn along the way. Whether you're hitting the road, traveling for work, or chasing the next big game, there's a room waiting for you. But a great stay isn't just about rest. It's about what comes next. Because travel, as we all know, isn't always predictable. It's not linear, but that's what makes it great. Best Western is there for every wrong turn that leads to the right story, every unplanned turn that becomes a highlight, every moment that makes a lasting memory. So stay out a little later. Take the scenic route. Make the most of the ride. Ready to get going on your next adventure? It's waiting for you at Best Western. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. All right. Moving on. Two of baseball's best closers. Having issues in the American League. Devin Williams came on. It was a non-save situation. Day game in Detroit. 4-0. Couldn't get the save, or couldn't complete the inning, I should say. Aaron Boone had to come out and get him. His ERA blew up to over 12. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, Emmanuel Clase, he continued to struggle. He gave up a bases-loaded knock with 2 outs in the ninth. White Sox would have easily tied this game had Mike Tauchman not borrowed my hamstring rounding third and blown out on his way and got tagged out to end this thing. Are you concerned about one closer, both closers, or neither closer?
Well, I think I'm concerned about both. You've been sounding the alarm on Class A. I think you're going to talk about him. I want to go Devin Williams because I was watching that game. And I guess I'm concerned, but I feel like I have maybe a solution to the concern. Number one, you got to locate better every single pitch. And essentially he is a 2-pitch guy. So like I say that because if you can eliminate a pitch, or maybe you have an idea of like what kind of pitch is coming, or just, or you can. Okay, this is what's happening. I'm trying to explain this the right way. I saw yesterday Austin Wells setting up, as a catcher, giving his target. When Devin Williams threw a changeup, his glove was completely just dead center. Like he was saying, okay, this is just throw it here, let it move how it moves. And it was so blatantly obvious. Anytime he moved off the center of the plate, it was a fastball. And now I can see that from home because I see him setting up and we have the view right behind the pitcher. But like if I can see it from home, like the first base coach might be able to see it. The third base coach might be able to see it. Somebody in the dugout might be able to see it. And this wouldn't be the first time we talk about Devin Williams like tipping. And this might not even be a him thing. It could be an Austin Wells thing because he was setting up really early. And every time he threw a changeup, he was just like in the middle. You could tell like the difference because when he went outside or inside, he kind of leaned down. Let me get away from the camera. Leaned down a little more like this, and was on the peripheral of the strike zone. So every time I saw that, I knew what pitch was coming. And he mentioned after the game, they made some, or Aaron Boone after the game said, "Oh, they made some really, really good takes." And if you can just even there was like 2 pitches where he set up in the middle and they were fastballs. But if I can say to myself, hey, if he sets up anywhere off the middle, I know it's not a changeup. I mean, and on 2-pitch guy, like that's all the information you really have to have. So maybe that's there, maybe it's not. Maybe nobody can see that on the field, but I definitely saw that yesterday when I was watching the game. So I'm curious if other teams have picked up on that. The location does need to be better regardless, but if that's something that they could easily clean up.
So that's catcher tipping 101.
If you have the video, Dan, I guarantee you can see what I'm talking about.
Oh, well, yeah. Next time, call ahead.
Like, okay, see, let's go back to that. Go back to the beginning. You see him setting up on the outside right there of that box?
Mm-hmm.
Fastball, like 100%.
And by the way, he also missed his location.
I said the location needs to be better, but like you go watch that game, go watch that inning again. You see his glove just smack dab right in the middle of the plate, changeup.
Well, the numbers, I can't break down what you just did because you've experienced it. I can just tell you about the numbers. They ain't been good. And I've watched most of his 4 appearances with the Yankees. He's given up 5 runs, 4 earned on 5 hits and 4 walks while striking out 5 across 3 innings. So he's already given up more earned runs in 4 appearances as a Yankee than he did in 22 appearances as a Brewer last year. Remember, his season got off to a slow start because of the injury. Basically, the guy has made headlines for seemingly all the wrong reasons. And in New York, that is something that can compound itself. Why? Because you have a very loud fan base that will let you know when things aren't 100% perfect. You can say, all right, well, social media isn't the real world. It's true, but it's where you can find super fans like noted actor Nick Turturro do his thing.
While I'm in the fucking moment, can we just be fucking serious and smart here? Luke Weaver earned that fucking closer job. Just make him the closer. The dude earned the fucking job. He earned it. Now you hand it over to another guy who didn't earn it, who we know nothing about. And then we have to have beards because of him. Give Weaver the fucking job. He earned it.
So, Nick, is it Christmas in April? Because I think he was wearing some holiday jammies, maybe.
He's a trip, man. I've actually been over to his house to watch a Yankee game with him. I did his podcast back in the day. He's nuts. He's funny. He is funny. And look, think what you want. Like that is the way a lot of Yankee fans feel. Do I agree with it? I I don't think so. I think Devin Williams has earned, that job, but I understand the sentiment there. So, I think he speaks for a lot of people.
I wonder if they flip-flop at some point. Remember, Williams has been a wonderful setup guy for Josh Hader in years past. Now, that's not going to go over great in your walk year. I can tell you that.
High leverage is high leverage. I think saves matter, but he's proven it a ton.
Okay.
And I think he will be better this year.
Now can we get to Emmanuel Clase?
Let's talk, baby.
I know that you have just felt like, oh my God, you're issuing your Cleveland panic. No, but the way that the Guardians do business, and he still isn't making anything. I think he's making maybe $4 million this year. I got to look it up.
I'll look it up for you. Go ahead.
Please do. There's been something off about him. He got knocked around in spring training. You're like, well, it's spring training. And then pretty much since day one, he's been all over the place. He has been all over the place. His numbers are alarming. He's given up multiple hits in 3 of his 6 appearances. I want you to listen to this. He's given up multiple hits in 3 of his 6 appearances this year. Last year, he gave up multiple hits 3 times in the first 3 months of the season. That's how good he was. Now, last season, he was historic. He was virtually unhittable, but guys are starting to barrel him up a little bit, and he has not utilized the inside part of the plate ever since hitting Jonathan India in the face that first weekend. I mean, that was alarming, and I understand that, and he's been a guy that has lived outside most of his career anyway. He's never been a dude that has felt like busted in a ton, but I think he has got to make a lot of adjustments right here, and it just feels like he's on the wrong side of it right now, and it is alarming.
That's interesting you say that about India. I didn't really put that together, though. But yes, if you are not comfortable going inside, what can guys do? They can cover the outside part of the plate without any sort of, fear. Yeah, that you're going to come in and buzz them. You start to get comfortable in the box. That's why people, older pitchers will say, we got to move your feet. And it's true. I mean, if a hitter's in there and I can say, you're not coming inside. And if you do, it's a ball. I'm going to go hunt out over the plate. That makes it very difficult for a pitcher. It doesn't really have anywhere to go. I'm looking right now. I mean, the numbers on the cutter are down. The slider's been hit, and the 4-seam fastball has been basically non-existent. Doesn't really throw that. Never mind. So yeah, the cutter and the slider are both down this year, and I wonder if that has to do with guys just getting on the plate.
Well, he hit India with a 4-seamer. He went back-to-back. He went over his head, and then he hit him in the face. And
2 pitches this year and 1 pitch last year with the 4-seamer.
Yeah. And I think they brought that to his attention. Like, I think you've got to start throwing that and stand guys up. And he hasn't done it. I've watched every single one of his appearances, and it's just not the same. Can guys go through 3-week stretches where it's not great? Yes, it can. But closers, that is a finicky roll, and it feels like when it goes fast.
Oh man, it's hard for me to judge this early on in the season, and it could like Devin Williams. It could be the Austin Wells tipping his pitches. For Emmanuel Clase, it can be as simple as let's establish the inside part of the plate again. You just have to get over whatever you're fearing. Like you have to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys have such good stuff. It's hard for me to write either of them off, Chris.
All right. Well, we talked about the number of games that we had around baseball. Let's talk about one game where it was a massive blowout, the biggest blowout of the day. Orioles, they get dusted by the Diamondbacks 9-0. So that means the O's went 2-4 through their trip in Kansas City and in Arizona. This is a team that's made the playoffs 2 straight years, and their skipper is looking for some answers.
This wasn't our best road trip. Didn't catch a lot of breaks. Just feels like things didn't go our way a lot of the time. And but we got to take a breather tomorrow and hoping and expecting a good homestand.
All right, is this just a very slow start, or are there some real issues?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think they do have some real issues. Obviously, right now with their starting pitching staff, they got a bunch of guys on the IL. Eflin's there now. He's been basically him and Sagano have been there, and Povich has been okay. They've been the only guys giving them good efforts. The rest of the rotation is really struggled. Morton and Kramer have really struggled. And I think we talked about that going in the offseason. We needed more pitching. Now, Gibby signs late. I've been talking to Gibby yesterday. He's getting ramped up right now. But yeah, the depth is being tested. And, some of the, Morton has looked, human and vulnerable, like I said. And I think that's kind of the issue with the Orioles right now. Like yesterday in that game, it kind of seemed like they were lifeless. I don't know. That's how I felt, especially maybe when you're compared to the Snakes, who I feel like just have so much energy. And, I love the addition of Naylor so much. He makes so much sense there. Had a great game yesterday. I think they hit into 3 double plays yesterday, or maybe it was just 2, but it felt like, they had some rally killers. It just felt like there was no life there. And that doesn't feel like that way every game with the Orioles. So I don't think that's necessarily like a season-long thing, just a bad game. But to me, the starting pitching is a real issue. That I don't know. Are they going to address it, or are they going to just wait till guys get healthy?
I mean, first of all, let's start with what Brandon Hyde said afterward. I'd be a little pissed if I were an Orioles fan to hear guys say, well, we didn't catch a lot of breaks. I mean, it was 9-0. What sort of breaks were you looking for in that game? Maybe he was talking entirely about the road trip.
I think the road trip he was talking about.
Still, I don't like it when people talk about breaks. To me, that's like, well, we did things to lose the game. The other team didn't win it. I just don't think that's a great mentality to have. I don't love it. And I like Brandon Hyde. I know that a lot of Orioles fans have been toasting him. So I get that. When you don't watch as closely as the Orioles fans, I understand where you might stand on him. But this boils down to pitching. It's very simple. You let Corbin Burns walk, and you didn't adequately replace him, right? You're taking a chance on a 41-year-old Charlie Morton, a 35-year-old Sagano. You're saying Dean Kramer's going to be better than league average-ish sort of guy. Povich you're keeping your fingers crossed there. Can Bradish come back the second half of the year and be like a trade deadline acquisition type guy? Yeah. I know we say this for every team, but why don't they just go out and get Sandy? Why don't they?
I mean, they can. I don't know how available he is right now. Those Marlins,
let's go make him available. If you're the Orioles, and if you're, you've made these tremendous strides. You had a 100-win season a couple of years ago. You have that place jumping for the first time, it feels like, in decades. It's less than that, but it feels like you're riding this wave of momentum with so many great kids that are all growing up together. And man, if you are, I don't think either one of us had them making the playoffs, right?
I did not.
Yeah, and it's for reasons like this. Is that it just feels like there's other teams doing stuff. The Yankees did stuff. The Red Sox did a ton of things. Hell, even Toronto, when they took some big swings and missed, they still went out and added to their team.
Yeah, I think they're going to work through this. The pitching is obviously they need to figure something out there. Either everyone needs to step it up, or they do need to make an acquisition. Offensively, I think they're going to be fine.
Yes,
Cedric Mullins looks awesome, and Tyler O'Neill looks like a great signing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And Gunnar really hasn't done anything. Although yesterday I felt like his at bats were fine. Like he had a couple good swings. First at bat of the game, lines went to right. I think that's all going to come around. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the pitching, which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You can outslug teams, and they definitely will be able to do that. Man, I don't know.
Gibby, he's there to save the day. We know that.
We know he'll give him 5 innings to start.
Gibby was calling me out yesterday on my text.
What's that?
Gibby was calling me out yesterday on
for
some
what?
Things. So some things that he thought he saw me do in the locker room that I can't talk about right now. Yeah.
Oh, but were they accurate?
No. I said you have me confused with somebody.
Well, then share one of them.
No, I can't.
Well, you
it
can't
was something
give
it was a Chris Parmalee. He was confusing me with Chris Parmalee. Is he in your book?
That's a good one. Chris Parmalee.
Yeah.
I love that. Very good. Today's episode sponsored by MLB 9 Innings, a Major League Baseball game you can actually play in the palm of your hands. MLB 9 Innings has a wide variety of game modes, from league mode, where users can play through a season, to live player v. player. 9 Innings has over 2,000 player cards to collect and use in your dream roster. MLB 9 Innings, most up-to-date rosters around, team logos, ballparks, and uniforms. And 9 innings has also added new historic players to the game, like Joe DiMaggio, Satchel Paige, Kirby Puckett, Derek Jeter, and one of the newest Hall of Famers in Adrian Beltre. Now, you may have already seen it, but MLB 9 Innings has released an incredible trailer this year as well. Go check it out. Mike Trout, Ken Griffey Jr., even Greg Maddux are in it. So you can see that trailer on MLB 9 Innings official YouTube channel. So download and play MLB 9 Innings 25 today. Click the link in the description and off you go. All right, before we get out of here, the Pirates won a game over the Cardinals in extra innings, but Pittsburgh might have had the craziest play of the year. You can hear it. You can hear the crunch, and then Joey Bart explaining what the hell happened.
Popped it up. Bart didn't know where it was initially. It still doesn't. So, Andy Rodriguez, oh my! A big-time collision, out at the plate because of the heads-up play by Hayes, but that was a big-time collision.
I couldn't find the ball. I don't know if he could find the ball, but I got to make an effort to try to catch it, and then I was on my butt and looking up in the sky, so that's all about. But Key made a play, and we made it happen. I asked how did we get in out, and they said they Key tagged them, and it worked.
That is terrifying, dude.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think like whose ball this actually is. It's probably Key Bryan's ball. If we're being honest, it landed on that side. First and third base need to be calling the catcher off if they can get there, because obviously Joey doesn't see the ball. He's not calling it right away. Andy's like, nobody's calling it. I'm gonna go for it. I think that's kind of what happened. I didn't hear anybody like say, I got it, me, whatever. And then so you're just trying to make a play, and Key's like, I mean, this is a great reaction because, as a player, like it's like just like a football player. You see the ball on the ground, you're going to go for it instinctively. And who was running on third base? Right? I didn't catch who was running.
That was Thomas's JC.
What's he supposed to do? And all
he's running. He's running where he should.
I know, but like he would obviously be safe if there wasn't a pile of bodies in front of the plate, dude. Like all of a sudden he's got to tiptoe around. Look at this route he has to take to home plate.
It's quite the circuitous route. I thought we were going to need a spatula to get Andy Rodriguez off the ground. Joey, you stood next to Joey Bart.
He's a big boy.
He is enormous. I mean, he looks like he could be an outside linebacker for the Steelers. That's how big he is.
Well, luckily for him, Andy was the guy charging him. That's what happened.
If it had been opposite, if Andy had been playing catcher and Joey Bart had been running from 30 yards away at first base, then Andy would have ended up in section 131.
That's Key Bryan's ball. I love my guy. That's his ball.
Yeah. He made another fantastic play in that game, too. Yeah, he is a wizard.
He can do that.
Yeah, he's a wizard defensively. There's no question. To have the wherewithal to pick up the ball, though, and not pick up your teammates.
Or laugh or like, oh, my God. But it's like a dog, like, like you play fetch with a dog. Like you put a ball around a ball player, he's gonna get the ball.
Did you ever have one of those plays where you ran into somebody bad, outfielder that was coming in, you were going back to the ball? Because that can get a little tricky.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever anything bad. My worst collision was with me in the mounds in Oakland. That was my worst one.
Oh, the one down the left field line.
But you're definitely that's like a scary play, and you have to, like I said, I talked about that with the warning track. So you have to learn that. Like you have to learn, what that guy's range is out there in the field, and if you haven't played with them a lot, then it can become dangerous.
By the way, Joey Bart gives me Joey Gallo interview vibes.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah, maybe it's the name. He was talking about I got chest hair and gut out. After he hit the walk-off. It was funny. All right, enjoy your limited selection of Major League games on Thursday. We will be back on Friday to preview the entire weekend. Got some good series coming your way. We cannot wait. What are you saying? Oh, and tonight? So it's a limited baseball schedule, but Blitzball's back on. The Jolly Olives against the Warehouse Athletic Club. So it's our two new teams going at it. Join us in the chat at 7:30 Eastern.
Imagine I named Forgotten Rotten the Trevor Plouffe. Like, what are we doing, Jolly? Like, Steve Cohen comes into town. All of a sudden we got a slick haircut. Juan Soto's there. I'm going to pop my chain, name my team after mine. Just like name it me. That's ridiculous.
Except that they've won floorball before.
The
They've
Jolly
won-
Olives haven't won nothing.
That's not true. They've won ball and play, and they've won floorball, which are more sports.
That was the hook, line, sinkers.
Oh, stop. Jolly was
What?
part of
It's
those
a different
teams.
team.
Jolly was a part of those teams. Drew
Some of
Davis
them.
was a part of those teams.
Some of them.
Wow, you are you're rough. I think you're jealous.
Me and Jolly are just.
I think you're jealous.
I'm not jealous. I'm pointing out something that is utterly ridiculous. The
You are
Jolly Olives.
jealous.
It's like your team, the Chris Roses.
Well, I would never do that.
Okay, that's my point. Thank you.
Some guy on social media called me a narcissist. I was like, you might want to go look up the word. I've been called a lot of things, but I haven't been called a narcissist. So now that's something that a narcissist would do. I would never name my team the Chris Roses, but I wouldn't put it past you. You
I
could
would say I'm putting a little bit of narcissism in you. I think just you're narcissism adjacent.
I could smell the rebrand of the Trevor Plouffes in 2026.
People say that about me, but like, if you really get to know me, I just want everyone to be happy.
That's true.
Especially
we are
me.
back at it on Friday for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer. You can go back to bed now, kiddo. That is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, soon to be called the Trevor Plouffes. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday here on Baseball Today.